The juice is well and truly loose as Michael Keaton's bio-exorcist returns at long last with Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. It's the most Burtonish Burton movie yet, but there are moments that could have been bio-exorcised without being missed. Warning, spoilers ahead. Teased in the trailer as the film's big bad, one of the most notable crimes Beetlejuice Beetlejuice commits is introducing a great villain in the form of Monica Bellucci's Dolores, and doing absolutely nothing with her for most of the film. Revealed to be the cause of Beetlejuice's death, the movie sets Dolores up as an impressive force, broken out of containment as a live-action corpse bride, and sucking the life out of Danny DeVito's janitor before setting off to exact her revenge on the former flame that killed her. And that's it. From there, the actress spends the rest of the film walking towards the camera through the kooky and crooked halls of the afterlife in search of Beetlejuice.
Rory's Beetlejuice.
Only in the film's final act, when the movie is rushing to lay all its plot threads to rest, does she finally encounter her ex-hubby, only to be swiftly eaten by a sandworm. It's nothing new for Tim Burton to cast his real-life romantic partner in a project, but here's hoping that in whatever gig he has lined up next, Bellucci gets more to work with. If we had a nickel for every time Jenna Ortega was the daughter of a popular goth character and falls for a local boy who turns out to be a monster, we'd have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but it's weird that they both happened in Tim Burton projects.
Pain and suffering are always inevitable.
Where have you been all my life?
Equally as impactful as Dolores, Arthur Conte's Jeremy really does feel like a rough draft of Hunter Doohan's Tyler from Netflix's Wednesday series, which is even more annoying given that he actually gives a great but grossly underused performance. The only benefit to be found in his inclusion is that his killer spirit Richie acts as an entry point into the world that Astrid has refused to believe in, but even that leads to some sketchy plot holes.
Astrid! Stop torturing your mother!
Did the youngest Dietz family member really need romance in order to see things from her mother's perspective? More to the point, what was it that allowed her to see Jeremy in the first place? When the ghost spills the beans about his plans to use Astrid's soul to escape the afterlife, he even admits he doesn't know why she saw him. We wish it had been given more time, or none at all, instead of lingering in storyline limbo. Wednesday provoked questions about Burton's racially skewed casting choices, and Beetlejuice Beetlejuice does little to dispel them. In fact, the only scenes in the new sequel to involve characters of color are when, dragged into the afterlife by Jeremy, Astrid finds herself at risk of being sent to the great beyond, and has to board a subway train filled with black extras dressed in 70s gear and afros. It's a cheap, outdated set piece and only highlights just how limited Burton's films are in regards to diversity. When the only speaking role a black cast member has is as the conductor ordering everyone all aboard the Soul Train, it shines a spotlight on the fact that more work should have been done here. Like the Soul Train itself, the sequence never really goes anywhere. A minute spent paying attention to a character played by a convicted sex offender is a minute too many. And yet, in Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, Jeffrey Jones's Charles Dietz is not only the main drive for getting the family back together, but is repeatedly and unnecessarily revisited throughout the film.
What? Why? No! No! No!
For those that don't know, in the early 2000s, Jones was arrested for possession of child pornography, as well as soliciting a minor to pose for nude photos. He was given 5 years probation and required to register on the national database as a child sex offender. While Jones doesn't reprise his role, the film resorts to stop-motion animation to reveal Charles's cause of death, explaining that he was killed in a shark attack during a birdwatching expedition. For the rest of the film, Charles is shown as half the man he was, wandering through the afterlife as a pair of legs topped by a shark-shaped bite where his head used to be. While the uninformed might be fine with it, Jones's continued presence throughout the film is strongly felt when it shouldn't be there at all. Why couldn't they have simply used a line of dialogue to write him out of the story in the same way that the mere mention of a loophole explains why Barbara and Adam aren't present this time around?
Can't believe Grandpa's dead.
Instead, far too much attention is paid to Charles's character when simply giving up the ghost would have been the preferable approach. In a film that includes a horrifying birth sequence involving a Beetlejuice baby having a train-spotting moment, somehow Justin Theroux's parasitic boyfriend weaseling his way into the Dietz dynasty comes off creepier.
Oh my God. I was helpfully getting some boxes in town, then I heard you screaming. Are you all right?
Another new character that makes little impact in the film as a whole, Theroux does a great job in turning Rory, the new beau of Winona Ryder's Lydia, into a loathsome foil. The problem is that the big reveal of his true agenda and the justice he's dealt as a result are all dished out in the time it takes to say,
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
There could have actually been something worth playing around with here in terms of story. Rory secretly shares the same view as Astrid, whose disbelief in her mother's story is the wedge that pushes them apart and may have made for a more interesting family fix by the end. Instead, Rory's forced to admit to his scheme before being swiftly carried away by a sandworm and Dolores at the end of the film. As a result, the Rose character ends up being just one more of many that are rushed off stage when time could have been spent to reveal that the real monster was the other guy haunting the Dietz family all along, and not the one with the mad green hair and rotten teeth, even if he's no good either.